Well, does anybody ever listen to the scanner in the 104, the police scanner? No. Let me tell you what happens. I have the scanner. I still have the Citizen app too, which I can listen to a scanner. Every unit. Now, let's say we have 3 cars out in the 104 tonight, and that's probably the norm now. Each car is holding 5 911 calls at a time, and some even more than that. So they're going from one 911 call to another. When are they supposed to make these reports? Oh, it takes them 20 seconds, according to Jemani Williams. So the police are against this, every police union is against it, the commissioner's against it, police commissioner, the mayor, every deputy mayor, everyone in law enforcement is against this bill. But the city council knows better. And that's what I said on the floor of the city council yesterday. I said, so everyone's against this. And in March, we had a hearing, and it lasted hours. I stayed for that hearing. I listened to the advocates. I listened to the police unions and everybody that testified against it. Jemani Williams did not. He did not. He said his piece. He said how the cops are, again, abusing everyone. And, of course, the bill passed. The Common Sense Caucus, which I helped form, we had 8 of our votes against the bill. And then a couple of, another person in the council voted against it, that made 9. And then 3 people abstained. It passed, though, overwhelmingly. So the mayor has threatened to veto it. But unless the mayor starts to pick off some council members to actually not override his veto, it will pass. It will actually become law. And the problem then becomes we're going to be less safe because the police are not going to actually engage because they can't. They're going from 911 to 911. They got to make reports on that. So level 1 and level 2, right now, level 2 stops is when they inquire that they have a suspect and they're asking people, and if the person says, I wasn't even here, and they let them go, that's fine. No report. Level 3 is when they have a suspect. And then they have to fill out a 50-page form. It's ridiculous. All the paperwork that they have to do. So the problem that we're seeing is the war on police is continuing with this city council. And think about me going there and having to deal with this on a daily basis. Then think about their neighborhoods, where the cops are not liked or wanted is in the higher crime areas. I can't figure that out. You would think you'd want more cops. You would think you'd want more policing. So again, what's happened in the city council is the advocates have taken over. That means people that have been incarcerated. And if you talk to city council members, they tell you, oh, my father was incarcerated. My brother was incarcerated in the past. This is why I don't like the police. They tell you. This is how far we've fallen as a society. So it's frustrating, but I'll keep battling. We're trying to work with the mayor, believe it or not, trying to get him to start actually fighting the city council. And I'm on the city council, but actually trying to level the playing field by, and de Blasio was good at this. De Blasio would actually, if he wanted to get the city council to fall in line, he promised things for each member. He wouldn't deliver, but he at least promised. So the thing that's the frustrating thing is that the mayor is now preoccupied. So we're in trouble, folks, in the middle class. We might have to actually have a civilian patrol in this area to keep it safe in the future. And by the way, we went through that, didn't we? I remember going on patrol in the 80s and looking up at Comet, and we would go on patrol because it got so bad. So you see how things just go in complete, it goes around and it comes around, and here we are back to the area where, and everybody tells you where the crime is down. Don't compare it to last year. Yeah, because crime was so high last year. So crime is slightly down in some of the sections. Look at the 2-year. in 104, I think it's up 25%. So, Deputy Inspector Coleman was saying, he lowered crime. Well, you know what? His 2 years actually was up about 25 to 30%. So that's why I don't buy all that stuff. They play with the numbers. If you look at since 2019, what happened in 2019? Bail reform happened. Crime is up 33% since 2019. All right, so those are the real stats. Look at they deny all of this. So I don't want to, I'm not going to go on and on to bore you because you're having a party tonight. But we all got to band together. And Civic is very, very good. But we got to band together. Stop electing, and I can tell you this, stop electing people who are lifetime politicians who vote against us constantly. And I'm talking about our state senators. And I'm not saying in this particular area, but I'm saying if you look at the state senate, it's working against the people of New York City and New York State. If you look at the assembly, they're doing the same thing. And those are where the bail reform laws come from. So anybody who wants your vote, find out how they voted on the bail reform.
Amen.
And they redistricted the area here, so we're going to have, they cut us to pieces. The only real block that we have is in the city council. Because you have me, but I carry most of this area. I had Middle Village, Mascot. I did have a little piece of Woodside. They took that away from me. They took more than half of Glendale away from the 30th council district. And they put me, the 30th, into Regal Park. So the Crescents, I had the Crescents, which was good. I had parts of Elmhurst on this side of Queens Boulevard, which is good. I don't go all the way into Woodhaven like I used to go. But I didn't like Glendale being cut up, because they're like us. They vote, they're middle class, homeowners, and they vote for public safety, and they vote for quality of life. So we're gonna have to fight. You all have to get everybody out to vote. And the last election, I think I got 96% of the vote, 97%, whatever it was, unopposed. So we had a bunch of write-in votes, Mickey Mouse. Some of the lefties didn't want to vote for me, so they wrote in names. Nobody wrote in Tony Musiala. I didn't see Lee Rottenberg. But there was Juan Ardilla, with 10 votes for Juan Ardilla. How's that one? No, that's all right.
And what about solitary?
Liz Crowley got 10 votes.
But what about solitary confinement? That bill, the solitary confinement that council passed.
Yeah, the solitary, I didn't want to get into all the criminal justice. You can read about that. But the criminal, we voted, by the way, in the council I voted against, and the common sense caucus. But now, if an inmate at Rikers, I can't even call them that, they corrected me, the detainees, the language police. You have to, now, if somebody attacks a correction officer, throws bodily fluids on them, which they do, attacks another detainee, you can't put them in a cell by themselves. And they call it solitary confinement. We haven't had solitary confinement in 10 years in New York City. They call it restrictive housing, where they put them in a unit for people who are acting up and can't be in the general population. We just voted in the city council to do away with that. That means you go into timeout, like you would a toddler. You go into timeout for 4 hours, and then you go back in the general population. So needless to say, the law enforcement's against that, but this is what we just voted on yesterday. They rushed through all these ridiculous bills. So I am so disgusted. Because again, I come from civics, I come from public safety, I come from an area that accountability. If you acted up in grammar school in St. Ambrose, what happened in the 1950s? Got smacked the wall. I'm not saying that was good, because I wasn't in favor of that. I was against that. But it kept some punishment is needed. I mean, you act up, and this is the problem we have in schools. You act up and nothing happens. You don't show up, nothing happens. So accountability in everything. Accountability is out the window in New York City. Go through a red light, you're okay. If you're on an illegal scooter, you're okay. If you're on a city bike, electric bike, you go through and the delivery person, you're okay. Nothing really happens.
Or if you jump a turnstile?
Jump a turnstile. So what did they do in the 1990s under Bill Bratton and Mayor Giuliani? Broken windows. So that's what we got to get back to. Broken windows. You deal with the turnstile jumpers. You deal with the graffiti. You deal with the smaller crimes, your public urination. You deal with all that, public drinking. You deal with that. You summons them, and it stops the bigger crime. There's some kind of accountability, some responsibility. So this is what we have to get back to. And again, we will probably get to that point. But things are going to get worse, believe me, with all the bills. I don't want